few minutes. But for now, it's time for our second fight. Back out to Bernardo and Teddy.
Thank you very much, Todd. And it'll be Roman Morales taking on Khabir Suleymanov, but everybody's still waiting for our main event, which features Rustam Nugaev, who's on a fight winning streak. 4 of those coming by way of knockouts, all under the tutelage of Rudy Hernandez. He'll be taking on Marvin the Cub Quintero, a southpaw who until about noon today did not know if he was actually going to be able to fight on Friday Night Fights. Well, we're ready for our co-feature tonight, and it's Roman Morales, who is 8 years younger than Khabir Suleymanov, also half an inch taller. The weight, very similar, and the reach is exactly the same for these 2 bantamweights who will be going 8 rounds in our co-main event. This is the pride of San Ardo up in Central California. He was a 2008 National Golden Gloves champion, 2nd place at 119 pounds, and 16 of 17 of his pro bouts have been here in his home state of California. His opponent is Khabir Suleymanov, who is 33 years old, as both fighters now come to the center of the ring. Ray Corona's the third man.
This is good right here. This is good. Touch gloves. God bless. Mr. Rochi.
And there it is.
I'm going to tell you right now, good chance
Tom,
that somebody here is going to be on the floor. But first, we'll do...
So just for men, let's look like a champ. What do these fighters have to do to look like a champ? As this young man is number 2 in the WBA at 118, and he's got 3 straight decision wins following 2 consecutive losses.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you asked. For Morales, be the boss and land the left hook to the body. And for Suleymanov, box and set up spots for right hands. And as I was saying a moment ago, to our fans out there, good chance, Bernardo, somebody will be on the floor.
Hey, ready?
Suleymanov been on the floor in 4 fights. And as far as Morales, well, he was on the floor in his last fight.
And so, now we'll see what they have to do to look like a champ tonight. That was brought to you by Just for Men, and being on the floor is definitely not what you have to do to look like a champion. We've seen Morales before here on Friday Night Fights against Rufino Serrano in March of 2012. Coming off of a victory over veteran Roberto Castañeda, had to get up off the canvas, as did his opponent, Khabir Suleymanov, who beat Juanito Rubillar in a slugfest, but also was dropped.
All but 4 fights have been on the west coast of Mexico for Suleymanov. Morales maybe wants to get inside. He's the bigger man. Turned pro 123, highest weight 125, never below 120, while Suleymanov turned pro 119, and he's been as low as 117 and never above 122.
Both fighters respecting each other's power early on here. Suleymanov, good head movement trying to get in. His legs are really wide though. Morales trying to close the distance.
All these fighters have been involved. You see that style right there. Suleymanov coming forward with his head, a little bit of a billy goat. Both these guys have been involved in head clashes and cut. So Suleymanov cut over his left eye 4 fights ago, cut in 2 of his last 5 fights, and cut in 3 of his last 9 fights. And Morales also involved, as I said, in head clashes.
Suleymanov came from Russia to New York, said he spent his first night in the park with his twin brother. Then they found a family from his hometown back in Russia. They took him in. His third day in the gym, he sparred former world titleist Agapito Sanchez. So it's not been an easy road, but here he is on Friday Night Fights.
Somebody's yelling, pop that jab out. The only problem, they're popping it from too far away. They should add to it. Pop that jab out, but step in with it. Step close enough to land the darn thing.
Well, we look forward to the main event tonight. We know about the problems Marvin Quintero had getting here. And you, Ted, he said you wanted to see a lot more of Rustam Nugaev. How do you see this main event?
Well, I mean, he's had a tough time. He's going to have a tougher time, that being Quintero. Look, I'm not going to sing this week, although I hear a lot of people across the country going, that's a shame, especially Todd. But if I was to sing tonight, well, the lyrics and the song, at least for Quintero, would be a song from the Beatles, a classic. It would be Help, I Need Somebody, because I think he needs help tonight against Nugaev, whose only lyrics that he fights for are the ones that say, I'm gonna get you, boy, I'm gonna get you. Because that man right there, Nugaev, that's his attitude, and that's his music. I'm gonna get you. From the moment the first bell rings to the last bell, he's coming after you. And Quintero, well, he's gonna have to use those legs. He's gonna have to counterpunch. He's gonna have to be a southpaw and tricky with that right hook. Now, he's gonna have to get off the floor if he's gonna win this fight and survive this knockdown.
And once again, Morales looking sharp in the early going, and Suleymanov has proven to be a tough out earlier in his career. He's got 3 losses in his career, but here he's in against a young man who is determined, who's coming off big win against Roberto Castañeda and Jesus Hernandez, who was undefeated at the time. Nice right hand by Morales, and Suleymanov has to tie him up.
Look, if the truth be spoken, you look at Suleymanov, 16-3, not a bad record, but he's 16-3, but could easily be 11-8 with a little less luck, because he has 5 wins that were either split or majority decision wins. Very close. Right now, Suleymanov looking more like he's 11-8 than 16-3.
Khabir looking to work from the distance after being dropped earlier in this round. Oh, there was a slip, and that's exactly what Ray Corona calls it.
A lot of amateur fights for Morales, big advantage. 117 amateur fights. According to Suleymanov, only 4. A lot less, but who really knows? He told our facts gatherer that he had 4 amateur fights in the U.S., and that's it. But in another interview with a website, he also said he had 4 amateur fights, but they were in Russia. So who knows how many amateur fights Suleymanov really has, but he's at a big disadvantage right now to the sharper, to the boss, Morales.
And according to him, the 4 amateur wins were enough for him to reach the final against his brother in the 2005 New York Golden Gloves. They were co-champions, and that's what the story says.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Story time.
Appreciate that.
That's him.
And right now it's pushing time. Forget about storytelling. We're here for a minute. Bernardo, it's pushing time. And
Oh, there it is.
this Suleymanov needs to be taught how to snap a jab, not push.
5,
And he
6,
visits the floor again
7,
because of it.
He was leaning his head forward.
Hands up.
When you're pushing your jab, as Suleymanov does from too far away, you allow your opponent to close the gap.
Comes to an end, and there was early action, a big right hand from Roman Morales. We'll take a look at it after we come back.
Someone needs to show Suleymanov that when you throw a jab, you need to snap it out and bring it back fast. If you don't, well, right hands crash over them. And right hand crashed over Suleymanov's slow left hand and put him on the floor.
He paid the price
Take a step
there
back.
in that second round where he went down twice. 10-7 round then, Teddy.
You know, Bernardo, a lot of people talk about the jab, how important it is. Hey, look, it's important, and what a great weapon it is. But if you don't know how to use it right, and Suleymanov has shown in the first 2 rounds, he doesn't know how to use it. It's a dangerous punch, because if you throw it from the long distance, and you throw it slow, and you don't retrieve it, you leave yourself open to the natural counter, the right hand over it. And Suleymanov, he's almost better off keeping his jab in his pocket, keeping it in the locker room, because the way he throws it, pushing, range finding, bringing it back slow, he leaves himself exposed every time he throws it.
And he throws his punches very wide, and there he just goes flying. Another slip as Ray Corona cleans the gloves.
First of all, he's a little out of control. Suleymanov is, you know, moving 100 miles an hour. He's not getting anywhere. He's all over the place. He's throwing punches from way too far away. A lot of times he gets himself off balance. As you said, reaches in there with wide shots, as he did there. But more importantly than just the wide shots, he leans that head forward. His upper body gets ahead of his lower body. And that's bad, because when your upper body, again, it's something that's got to be taught to him. When your upper body gets ahead of your lower body, well, guess what? Your opponent can catch you before you get in position. There's a perfect example. Winging punches from left field, and his head leaning forward, out of position, off balance.
It becomes easier for Roman Morales to time him, and that's exactly what happened in that exchange, as you were illustrating, Teddy. And I think here for Morales, it's all about patience, because the opponent's coming to you.
Don't be too patient, because then he will come to you. He'll come here, walk right in. You got to throw those punches and make a guy like Suleymanov pay a price for throwing punches from too far away. Make him pay a price. He makes mistakes, charge him for it. Penalize him for it.
Morales in his corner, we're talking about working on the jab, which he's establishing there. But more importantly, and as you were mentioning, when you have an opponent who sticks his head out, the uppercut is something he hasn't worked throughout his career, but that would be a great weapon for this evening.
Look, the only thing he needs right now is straight punches. I don't think he has to worry about an uppercut right now. If I was Morales, if I was in his corner, I'd be controlling range with that jab, looking for straight punches down the pipe, inside those wide punches. And I'd probably look to go to the body every once in a while, because as well as the hands being down, the hands are away from the body for Suleymanov.
This helmet is just torture on my...
Friday Night Fights returns in 2 weeks from Cabazon, California, where Vanes Martirosyan will come back into the ring for the first time after his only career defeat against Demetrius Andrade, taking on Mario Alberto Lozano, who will be fighting in the U.S. for only the second time. The bell you heard is for round 4 between Roman Morales and Khabir Suleymanov. So far, so good for Roman Morales, the pride of San Aro, California. Both of these fighters come from hometowns of about 700 people. So they're small town folk with big city dreams.
Let go of his arm. Let go of his arm.
Stop! What do you say about the desert?
Let go of his
Dreams
arm.
come out to the
Let's go
desert
work.
to die? Is that what you're trying to say?
Somebody will, right? Someone will continue to dream, and the other will have to think things through. Suleymanov's right eye.
What did I
somewhat
say before
inflamed.
this fight started? Do you remember? You keep notes?
I do keep notes.
Good.
You said a lot of good stuff, Teddy.
Somebody would be on the floor
And you did not lie.
before this fight is over. Suleymanov's been on the floor. Morales hasn't been, but if he gets too close or he pulls straight back with those wide shots, don't forget, don't give up on this fight yet. Morales was on the floor in his last fight. It's up to Morales really to, again, control geography. He's the taller guy, he's the longer guy. Control the outside, control the center of the ring. Use that jab, look for straight punches. You got one guy throwing round punches. You don't have to be a genius to know that straight punches might just work if you're Morales. See, that's something I don't like to see. Morales, he did the hard part. You know, he controlled range, he stepped out. He got Suleymanov to do just what you want him to do, to reach, to expose himself. But Morales didn't make him pay, didn't pull the trigger. You get those opportunities, you got to make the most of them. This is a sport that doesn't always give you second chances. The sport can be a son of a gun, Bernardo. You know, it really can be just
unforgiving.
A very unforgiving sport. You get opportunities, you're the taller man of Morales, and you get your shorter man like he just did a moment ago again to reach in. You got to be ready to counter. Again, he makes him reach in, doesn't pull the trigger.
Complains once again of low blows, but that was a nice shot to the solar plexus, then followed by a left uppercut.
And the reason you got to take advantage, and this is nice work by Morales, not just the punches, but the little steps to the side, the little angles where he could hit, and Suleymanov could not hit back. That's what you like to see in this sport. That is why it's called the sweet science when it's done properly. And there's the switch from Morales to southpaw now.
You gotta cut from a punch.
Give yourself a little treat there, turn the left.
Stop.
And we'll have a sweet scientist with us when we return on Friday Night Fights.
Compared to the competition, Kia is the fastest.
Now we're joined by ring super middleweight champion Andre Ward. Welcome to Friday Night Fights.
How are you?
Doing great.
Teddy.
My favorite fighter, one of my favorite fighters in the whole world.
One of my favorite trainers, Teddy Adler.
Number 2 pound for pound in the world, but people want to know, Andre, when are we going to see you back in the ring?
That is the million-dollar question. Obviously working through some legal issues with my promoter right now. Unfortunate situation. It's part of the game, but we are actively looking for an opponent. So I stay ready so I don't have to get ready, and hopefully in the summertime we'll be back and ready to go.
The fights are not always inside the ring, are they?
Not always, not in boxing. Not in boxing.
No, but that brings me right to a question that I think the folks at home who really support you and think of you as I do as one of the best fighters out there and one of the best people out there in this sport. You know, your greatest asset to me is a couple things. One, you're technically very solid, but the other is your commitment, your readiness, your work ethic, and your belief in yourself.
Absolutely.
And is this battle outside the ring eroding any of your passion for this sport?
Honestly speaking, you know, the politics of the sport and the different things that you go through from a business side, like you just mentioned, Teddy, it does get discouraging, and you can find yourself not wanting to train and not wanting to dedicate yourself. And, you know, but I try to take the Bernard Hopkins approach. I try to let that fuel me because these things won't last forever. And this is going to pass just like, you know, all tough things do. So staying ready is the key, pushing yourself and staying motivated. Good shot right there.
That is a good shot. He claims that he slipped as he was caught with a nice left hook, it seemed, by Roman Morales. And Suleymanov visits the canvas for the 3rd time. Teddy, you called it, and he's been down there quite a few times tonight.
And maybe a few more before the night's over. What would you do? You know, I just finished saying what a good technical fighter you are, Andre. What would you do if you saw a fighter in the gym behaving and fighting the way Suleymanov does? Always out of position, always leaning, always wide.
Work out, guys.
How would you, that would drive you crazy. I know how I am. If you're just in the gym seeing someone do that, how do you react?
Yeah, no, I think Morales is doing the best job that he can. He's trying to stay contained. He's not, you know, trying to get caught up in Suleymanov's craziness and try to catch him in between those wide shots. And I think he's doing a good job, but it's tough because this guy's very awkward. He's throwing punches from crazy angles, and he's doing everything wrong. And it's tough to deal with that.
Well, you seem to do everything right when you're in the ring. 168, a loaded division. How do you see yourself moving forward in this weight class with so much talent?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are screaming for me to go to 175, and I'm not a 175-pounder right now. One day, that's something that I may want to do. And a lot of people say there's nobody to fight at 68, and I beg to differ. There's a lot of guys out there to fight, but I don't know if these guys are willing to fight me. And I think that's what it boils down to.
You know, I talked about Suleymanov having been cut over his left eye in 2 of his last 5 fights. He has a little nick in the corner of that left eye. Scar tissue there.
Yeah.
Would love for you to stick around for another round if you don't mind, champ.
Would love to.
All right. The bell will signal the end of this round here, but we'll come back with
Take a look at the knockdown. Right hand starts it. being off balance. And then look at that leg, that right leg of Suleymanov, and he's pointing it out too. His leg actually slipped out underneath him and actually off the ring apron and helped him go down.
If you look at the way Suleymanov stands, he's got a very wide stance, so he puts himself in that position. Let's take a look, or take the conversation back to where we were before the knockdown, Andre. And, you know, there's Julio Cesar Chavez, there's Carl Froch, Sakio Bika, Robert Stieglitz, Arthur Abraham. A lot of these guys, Kessler, you've already beaten. Right. So what's left for you to fight, and who do you want to fight? Because Golovkin says you'll move up too.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Golovkin situation, and you know, prayers go out to his family. He just lost his father. I lost my father very abruptly at a young age. So thoughts and prayers with Golovkin and his family. But I put everybody on notice, and you know, I've been fortunate to be the top guy in the division, one of the top guys in the world, and I don't have to go chasing guys or running for guys. And you know, me watching boxing and following boxing, you know, all these years as a kid and growing up, they should want to come fight me. They shouldn't be comfortable fighting each other where they are. They should want to come fight one of the best guys or the best guy in the division. So I think the burden lays on those guys. And I've mentioned plenty of times, I've even called a few names and said, hey, let's do it. I'm ready. If it's the right situation, I'm down. And these guys don't seem eager. So I don't think the burden is on me. I think it's on them.
You've already shown that. I would agree. You've shown that. You behaved like a champion, inside, outside the ring.
I tried to.
You haven't avoided anyone.
That's right.
How's the
first tournament that was put together, that Super 6 tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you took on everyone.
I had to grow up fast in that tournament, Teddy. It was either, you know, sink or swim, and a lot of great competition, and I was fortunate.
A lot of guys wouldn't have won that tournament because you give up your chance to manage yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you got to fight all comers, whoever's there.
That's right. And very risky, but we came out on top.
There was injuries, replacement, but you walked through everyone. How's the shoulder?
The shoulder's great. I think for the Rodriguez fight, we got the gear back in neutral. But my next fight, we will be in gear. So I'm excited about it. I think you're going to see a totally different guy than you saw in the Rodriguez fight, even though that was a good performance. It was still coming off of 14 months, rehab, this, that, and the other, but we're going to be in gear for the next fight.
Well, somebody who's getting a little bit, in gear, Suleymanov, being allowed to get a little closer this round.
He is.
Because Morales not behaving like the taller man. He's giving up that height, he's falling in, and he's not using the jab at the right distance. Allowing the shorter, and as you said, very unorthodox Suleymanov to close the gap.
That's right, and I think the awkwardness is what we're talking about. It's just starting to wear Morales down mentally and physically. Good shot right there. But Suleymanov won't go away. He's been dropped, he's been hurt, and this guy won't go away. He's fighting like a true champion tonight.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
And Morales has now been cut over the right eye. We thank Andre Ward, who not only has a bright future in the ring, but also as a commentator. Always welcome on Friday night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Let me remind you that ESPN's Friday Night Fights is brought to you by Corona Extra, round 7 of 8. In a fight between Roman Morales and Khabir Suleymanov that has seen Suleymanov down 3 times, twice in round 2 and once in round 5. Teddy, so far so good for Roman Morales, who was cut by an accidental headbutt in that 6th round. Suleymanov getting a little desperate here as he's got less than 5.5 minutes to go in this fight to turn things around.
He's not going to turn it around. What he's hoping to do is land a punch from the skies, from the great skies, Suleymanov, and suddenly pull this one out of the abyss.
Well, and he'll have to pull it out of the abyss also on your unofficial scorecard, Teddy, as you have it 60-52. Those multiple knockdowns in round 2, and
see,
the fans have 6-0.
That's one way he could pull it out of the abyss. Yeah, the fans have it actually the same way I have it. That's one way that it can be pulled out of, you know, the fire for Suleymanov, is that Morales, every once in a while, even though he's looking to land big shots, he gives up his range. You know, he gets a little too close, Bernardo, to land those shots. He doesn't do it from like there. He doesn't do it from a range. He does it from close. And when you do it from there, when you allow the distance Suleymanov needs to unleash one of those punches, not straight, but one of those wide punches, because you can't land a wide punch if you're not close enough to your opponent. You can't. You're going to come up short. So really, I guess what I'm saying is Suleymanov needs a little help from Morales to land that punch. And Morales, in spots, seems to give it to him by getting a little too close when he don't need to. And now, I talked about both guys can get cut. Morales cut in the corner of the right eye.
That happened in the 6th round, and you know, this is the 3rd fight for Suleymanov under trainer Phil Paulina, and in between rounds he told him, this guy's gonna go out there and try to win a decision. You've got to go out there and make it happen. And wow, now the blood is really coming out of both eyes of Suleymanov.
I don't think any secrets were being told by Paulina to Suleymanov. Really, since early in the fight, he's had to go out there and do something to make it happen.
Another accidental
he
headbutt.
got behind in this fight very early.
And once again, he's cut on both eyes, and Ray Corona said it was an accidental headbutt. Round 7 coming to an end here on Friday Night Fights. It will have
There's a right hand landed by Suleymanov. Morales getting too close.
Time.
Khabir, come on. Come on, Khabir.
Look at the eyes on the Suleymanov. Cuts over both of them. He's been cut before.
Find out what kind of cut man John Arthur is. You never know when you get into this squared circle, when you come to work to a fight, when you're going to be caught on. Who's going to be caught on? The fighter's always going to be caught on. But the corner man, the cut man in this case, John Arthur being caught on.
And Morales trying to make a statement with quick hooks with the left and the right. Oh, and there it is, another right hook. And down for the 4th time in the fight is Suleymanov.
6,
6
7.
punches on that combination.
Hey, you want to continue? Come to me, hands up. All right, let's go.
But again, Bernardo, Suleymanov helps out Morales because he throws a wide punch. His upper body gets ahead of his lower body. He gets out of position. He puts him like that. He puts himself into perfect. He's got terrible habits. What else can I say? He puts himself into position to be caught with a sharp fighter, with a fighter who can own the outside, who can see the outside, and who can counter on the outside. And Morales has been able to do that. And now Morales, to celebrate a little bit, he turns southpaw.
Your feet, gentlemen, your feet.
Says he does that when he feels natural up there in the ring, so he goes righty, goes southpaw. Either way, it's working for him as the blood now continues to trickle down the right eye of Suleymanov.
Look,
Oh, and then now a push.
Suleymanov does a lot of things wrong. But there's one thing he does right. He acts like a fighter. He's got plenty of heart.
Oh, and there another right hook. Down goes Suleymanov for the 2nd time in this round, the 5th time in this fight.
7.
But he's always gotten up so far.
Walk to me, walk to me.
1
Hands
minute
up,
left
over
in
here.
round 8.
Hands up. All right. You keep an eye on him. Let's go.
That's the best you can say about a fighter. He always gets up. You know what? I admire him. I applaud him. But he's got to think about whether or not he wants to keep doing this, if that's all we can say about it. And again, plenty of opportunities to catch him on the way in and on the way out. Suleymanov goes straight back. You can catch him going back and coming in. Well, wide punches, head goes down like that. Leaves himself exposed.
Stop. Take a step back.
You don't have to do much if you're Morales. Just stand your ground. Wait for Suleymanov really to make a mistake. Wait for him to come at you. And when he comes at you like that, time it.
Stop.
Well, he's from Chelyabinsk, which is the land of Sergei Kovalev, and he's going to need one of those punches to change things around, but that's not happening. The final bell tolls, and a statement fight for Roman Morales, who improves to 18-0, it would seem, after knocking his opponent 5 times. Decision here on Friday Night Fights when we return. In our Friday Night Fights co-main event, Roman Morales made a statement with 5 knockdowns of Khabir Suleymanov, a right hook, and then a combination of shots there in the 2nd round for the 2 knockdowns. In the 5th, it was a nice right hand. He follows him, somewhat of a slip out of the ring, but it's counted as a knockdown. No doubt here with the right hook from Roman Morales, and then another right combination 1-2, and that should be enough for a victory for Morales to improve to 18-0. Teddy's scorecard 80-69, 2 knockdowns in round 5 and round 8. And your scorecard on Facebook has it a shutout, 8-0 for Morales. We take you up to Mark Lichtenfeld for the official scorecards.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds, judges Max DeLuca and Alejandro Rochin both score the bout 79-68. Thomas Taylor sees it 80-67 for your winner by unanimous decision, the pride of San Ardo, Roman Morales.
Statement win for Roman Morales from San Ardo, California, and that is our co-main, which means that coming up next, we've got Rustam Nugaev and his 5-fight winning streak taking on Marvin Quintero, who had to go through a lot of hoops to get here. That will be our main event. But